Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our AskMen. In today's episode, what was the idiotic game you and your stupid friends played growing up? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. What was the idiotic game you and your stupid friends played growing up? Mr. President. One person would put two fingers over their ear like they're talking on comms. Eventually everyone would notice and do it too. When one person is left who hasn't noticed, you yell, Mr. President. There's a shooter. Get down, and then you all tackle him. This is amazing. May 7th. Did this at prom. 10/10ths would recommend tackling in formal wear for authenticity. We would dump all of our Legos and Hot Wheels toy cars onto the trampoline and jump on it barefoot. The pain was excruciating, but all the toys flying around looked and sounded super cool. If waterboarding a terrorist doesn't get answers, it's nice to have a strong backup torture method. Ever heard of these things called shoes? Water balloon fights with the addition of 1 or 2 death missiles that were milk jugs full of water. I read that initially as water balloons full of milk, which would be a different kind of death missile. Capture the flag in the woods with only 1 pump of the BB gun. One time we thought it was a good idea to throw darts up in the air, through a bunch of trees, friend's backyard, and run away so you don't get hit. That lasted maybe an hour or so until one came down in a friend's shoulder. He lost. I once shot a kid in the forehead with a BB gun, and he started bleeding all over the place. I never saw him again. Oh man, where to start? I think my personal favorite was a game where you could smack someone in the face if they asked a question that ended in a 1-syllable word. I think we got that one from a movie or show. It lasted forever, and we all got clever with how we phrased out questions. And this was in school, so if we were in class and someone asked a bad question, you could call them out and smack them after class. Then there is the classic doorknob. If you burp or fart, and someone said doorknob before you called safety, they could punch you in the arm until you touched a doorknob. The beauty of that was very few doors in our school had doorknobs, and we didn't count door handles. Off top of my head. Playing baseball with a basketball and metal bat. Oh, my brother thought it was a good idea to allow me to try when I was young. That bat came right back and hit me in the forehead. *T lumped up like a golf ball. Dude, this took me back. We used to play basketball on ripsticks, those skateboards that swiveled. It sounded like a really good idea at first. Me and my siblings used to have ripstick fights. We would all hope on our ripsticks and slam into each other trying to make them lose their balance. *T got intense. Smear the queer, literally a football, and like 5 to 20 dudes, whoever has the ball gets wrecked. Holding the ball and dodging people longer is the goal. Suicide / butts up tennis ball, and wall game where you and any number of other dudes throw a ball against a wall. If the ball touches you without you catching it, you get the *T kicked out of you until you touch the wall. That's the suicide version of the game. The butts up is a slightly nicer version where instead of everyone just beating you, you go to the wall and face it and someone pegs you with the tennis ball. Smear the queer, literally a football, and like 5 to 20 dudes, whoever has the ball gets wrecked. Holding the ball and dodging people longer is the goal. Good times. LMFAO, we called that one wall ball. Roman candle fight. Roman candle jousting. We were not smart. I should probably be dead. Oh God, eyebrows take longer to grow back than I would have thought. I lived in a dorm where we had dorm Olympics, which included a blinded folded race around the dorm of 2 floors and 4 large hallways. People actually ran full speed while blindfolded. I ran teeth first into a concrete wall. I broke my jaw doing something like that. Although we played that game in gym class back in high school. I want to be part of that dormitory. IRA. We used to play a game we called IRA. Basically, it was a team versus team game. One team would have a word and each person had a letter. Then the other team had to chase you and beat you until you told them the letter. It sounds pretty brutal now thinking about it. But I only ever remember going to the hospital once. That is equal parts genius and savage. Must have been a Catholic school. Predator and prey. We would divide up in teams. One would be the predators, and the other prey. We would play in the dark to add to the fear, and the prey would run and hide. The predator would search down prey, tackle them to the ground. You have to get them in a pin. Once the prey taps out, they join the predator, and take their shirt off, to show that they are now predators. The last prey standing wins. Many bruises, much blood, lots of fun. Sounds like some Lord of the Flies type shit. Love it. Nutball. Exactly what it sounds like. You'd sit on the ground, legs spread with your feet touching the other person's, and lob a tennis ball at each other. Jewels. My coworkers and I would play that in the back of a moving truck. We used to play with a lacrosse ball. That was probably the worst idea we ever had. We used to sharpen palm fronds into swords and pretend like we were gladiators. So much blood, it's amazing how sharp you can make wood. Good Lord. That sounds horrifying. LY fun. We did our battles with corn stalks. Pull up the whole stalk and just whip the **T out of whoever you could reach. Left some insane welts paired with cuts from the leaves. Bonus points if the cob was still attached, cause then there was bruises too. Rock fights on a playground with those smooth pebbles instead of sand. You weren't allowed to throw singles, but you could throw handfuls. Makes sense. You can really put some zip on a single. We would pretend to sword fight invisible enemies. We went on hours-long missions to kill enemy bosses in their lairs, which happened to be wherever we ended up after a couple hours of walking around the neighborhood. Pretty sure anyone that saw us thought we were retarded. You and me both. Were the swords invisible too? If so, the answer to your last statement is yes. Walking home from school in the winter, when we got to our street, we would take off our shoes and socks and run through all the snowbanks until we got to our house, or until everyone else quit. I think we called it wall. I don't remember the exact rules, but there were a bunch of kids lined up against a wall, and someone had to try to hit the wall with a soccer ball. If you kept the ball from hitting the wall, you'd join the guy kicking. Whoa, this reminded me of wall ball. Sounds like yours was a little different. Super slugs. At a sleepover, we would climb head first into our sleeping bags, and then stand up, and then try to run into each other. You were more likely to run into a wall or a table though. This is a classic. Acerns and bridges. Yes, I know that is not how acorns is spelled. We lived by some woods, and there was a path that went through them, one part being a long bridge over a trench type thing under it. The objective was that you had 3 chances to throw an acorn as far as you could across the bridge. Those *****s would bounce all over the place when they landed, and you had to hope they didn't fall off the side through the railing. The furthest acorn won. Our tournaments would go on for hours, and we could only play during the winter when there were acorns on the ground. The most important rule was that if you pronounced acorn the correct way, and not acern, you lost a throw. Was that acern or acorn? Trivial issue, I know, but I want to be able to sleep nights. Granny's nipple. Share a cigarette without letting the ash fall. Pass it around and the person who drops the ash had to chew the filter at the end. This is one of my favorites because of how deranged it is on Theo. That it's called Granny's nipple really disturbs me. Uneasy face. Bloody knuckles punching each other's fists until one of the people quit. Quarter game. I don't think it actually had a name, but you would use your thumb to launch a quarter between your pointer and ring finger at someone else's knuckle until they bled. Tackle football on the parking lot. or in the woods by the apartments we grew up in. Lots of dumb stuff that caused pain. I definitely still have scars on my knuckles from the quarter game. Shoot arrows up into the air while laying flat on our backs, then pull a sheet of plywood over us. They were really blunt arrows, practice kind or whatever. But still dangerous. We did a funner version of that by laying on our backs and shooting our paintball guns up in the air, tons of paintballs. We wore masks, so no real danger for that one. We used to shoot arrows straight up, and then scramble to catch them with a paper box. We used to hammer nails into a stump. We called it playing stump. Fucking Cold War children's games. LMAO. We made a game called Hide from Cars. Pretty straightforward. You walk around the city in the early hours, 2 to 4 a.m., and the second you see car headlights, you run and hide wherever you could. People's yards, behind vehicles, alleys, etc. It was a fun rush of adrenaline for 10-12 Yomi. Especially when your hiding spot was flanked by a new set of headlights coming from a different direction. We stopped playing after one set of headlights turned out to be a cop. We were hiding in some bushes, and the cop car stopped right where he last would have seen two suspicious people running. We hunkered down for a good 15 minutes, while a couple squad cars continued doing patrols around us. Never got caught though. She was good fun. My friends were my cousins, but we jumped out of the second-story window to land on a couch outside. Like everyone below would get close and flail their arms, like playing chicken so you're scared the whole fall. It was so fun and scary, and a few of us landed on concrete, but W.E. Mudball fights upgraded with rocks. Filling Easter egg shells with pebbles and bombing each other. Making medicine and making someone actually drink it. Old beer and mud/soda, and raw aloe. *T was wicked. Who can climb up the side of the house fastest? Ding dong ditch. We stopped when some guy let his pit bull out on us. We used to play hot potato. One person would go to one end of the hallway, and another person would go to the other end. Sit down with your legs spread wide open. Then you'd take turns lobbing a potato at each other's nuts. First person to get sacked by the potato lost. Or if you flinched, your opponent got to get up and tag you in the nuts, which equals a loss. It had no official name, but I will call it $21.75. A friend of mine offered all cash he had on him to the first of our group, like 6 teenage boys, that stuck their P*NIS in another friend's ear. It never happened, but from that day on, every time one of us would bend over or put our heads at crotch level for any reason, the battle cry of $21.75 was yelled, and a prompt humping to the side of the head ensued. Haha, dumb *T that boys come up with. The randomness of the amount of money he had just makes it better. Two good ones come to mind. When we were like 10 to 12, we used to do this thing called the death chamber, where we lined up 2 couches on their sides, had 2 people get in the back, and then jammed a *T ton of pillows into the space so you could barely move, and you'd have to crawl your way out. One couch was longer than the other, so there was like a little hole to get out of. Then when we were in high school, we had this thing called pack meeting, where we would go outside onto my friend's deck, light a candle, and talk about our lives with each other. But it so easily transitioned into self-deprecation and teasing each other. And we started having all these weird rituals for introducing topics or starting the meeting. It almost felt cult-like, but goddamn was it so funny. Dirt clod wars. There was a big dirt mound due to construction on some ditches behind our houses. So we rode our dirt bikes and go-karts out to the mound. There were 2 teams, one's on the mound and one's riding around. You would ride around the dirt mound and try and not get hit by the kids on the mound throwing dirt clods and often rocks at you. Nailed my best friend with one in the leg, and the bump didn't go away for like 7 years. IDK, what happened to his leg? Swing the thing, learned about it from Mike Rowe. You fill a pillowcase or similar sized bag with wet beach towels and tie a long rope around the open end. Everybody stands in a circle around you and you start swinging the bag at increasing speed. The people on the outside need to jump over or duck under the bag as it swings around, while you try to hit them. There were no winners. Everybody lost. Seeing who could punch each other in the arm hardest. Just punch, get punched, punch, get punched, punch, get punched, repeat indefinitely. First to say stop loses. We would do something similar. Turn the lights out, crack open like 100 glow sticks, and just King start hurling those motherfuckers at each other. God damn, it sucked to get hit in the face. Me and my friends played a game called Slave Catcher. I'm not proud of it, but we were like 11, and didn't know any better. 3 white friends and 1 black friend. We would play at his house, give him 1 minute to escape, and we'd have to go find him in the predetermined area in the neighborhood, and get him back to his house/plantation. Other times we'd play just in the house, because winter was too cold, so to make it interesting, he was allowed to use weapons. The weapons started out relatively harmless like brooms, then frying pans, then kitchen knives came into play even though he wasn't seriously trying to stab us. One day his parents weren't home, and we were in a particularly intense game. We had him pinned, but he somehow ripped himself out of his shirt and got away. He went downstairs into the garage and picked up a chainsaw and came running through the house with it, scaring the sh*t out of us. We all ran outside, he came after us. Broad daylight in the middle of summer, mind you, so we would have obviously scared the sh*t out of any of the neighbors. The 3 of us get back in the house and lock him out while we come up with a game plan to capture him. As we're doing this, he makes his way onto the roof to try to find an open window, chainsaw still in hand. We hear him and rush upstairs to lock all the windows. He's banging on RHE siding and revving the chainsaw, all in good fun. And as we're standing inside looking out the window, 2 squad cars roll up the driveway, cops come out, guns drawn. Apparently a neighbor had called and said a black guy was chasing a bunch of screaming kids around the street with a chainsaw. So they rolled up to his house and see a screaming 11-year-old black kid standing on the roof shirtless revving a chainsaw. Needless to say, he almost got shot. Eventually we had to very awkwardly explain to the police, one of whom was black, that we were playing a game called Slave Catcher. That was the last time we played that game. This is gonna get buried, I'm sure, but here goes. My idiot friends in high school had this game we would call the slap bet, where every week you had 3 slaps, full strength, on anyone who opted in to play the game. The rules were, revenge was encouraged but immediate retaliation was unallowed. That's a fight, and this is about strategy, and cold brew revenge. A blocked slap was still expended, and blocking was the one time you could retaliate in the moment, a sort of counter-attack. You could not slap the same person more than once a week, the same person could only be slapped a maximum of twice per day, and you could opt out at any time. Now it's important to note that in the end about 20 or so people were playing, so a hand could be thrown at you from anywhere. In the end everyone had a laugh about it, but also probably some trust issues. It was all fun and games after all. That said, rivalries ran deep and long. Some of them were pretty creative, sh*t like hiding in lockers, distractions, traps, you name it. One that comes to mind for me was a buddy of mine I went back and forth with pretty regularly, but like I say, everyone was friendly, so when he offered me some crackers I was like, oh hey thanks man, looking down, holding the bag with one hand and reaching my hand into the bag with the other. Next thing I knew I was on my ass covered in goldfish crackers, with this sly motherfucker standing over me looking like he just won the Cold War. Good times. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.